Hello my very good friends. On today's exceptional edition of Comic Book News, Marvel announces a new team of X-Men, Batman's allies take center stage, and Amazing Fantasy returns. All that plus a new Captain America, Batman and Catwoman secret history is revealed, and Disney gets sued for copyright termination by the creators of Predator. So, let's get on with it. I'm Henry, and this is the news. Alright, first off, Marvel's announced a new team of X-Men ahead of the upcoming Hellfire Gala. This team will be the cast for the new X-Men series by writer Jerry Duggan and artist Pepe Larraz starting this July. The team will consist of Cyclops, Jean Grey, Sunfire, Synch, Rogue, X-23 under the guise of Wolverine, and Polaris. Of particular note is Polaris, who is the winner of the X-Men Vote, the contest held on Marvel.com where fans could vote on which secondary member of the X-Men franchise they wanted to see join the proper X-Men book. Now, there's a lot for me to get into with this announcement. First off, it's X-Men #1, which kind of implies that the current X-Men book by Jonathan Hickman will be ending at issue number 21 in June. Now, I don't think Hickman's going anywhere. In fact, Marvel's already teased that he has an upcoming X-Men book, so if that book is over, he's just going to migrate over to a new series, so no big deal there. Also, we have the inclusion of Rogue and Polaris on this book, which means, well, they're probably going to leave their current books, Excalibur and X-Factor. That's okay. That stuff happens pretty often in comics, especially when you're dealing with a big franchise with multiple different teams and characters. You have to pluck a character out of one book and pop them into another book every now and then just to keep things fresh. So that happens. It should be interesting to see what the ripple effect is of this new cast of characters being the proper X-Men series, because, you know, the other books will have to adjust, and we'll probably find out more information about that the closer we get to the Hellfire Gala. Then, beyond everything else, the X-Men are superheroes again. This is the X-Men superhero team, and it's been a while since they've really been superheroes. Ever since Jonathan Hickman picked up the X-Men franchise a couple years ago, and honestly for some time before that, the X-Men haven't really been out in the world saving lives. They've kind of been saving themselves. So I'm really curious to see how this reflects the greater Marvel universe and what their presence is in other Marvel books, because, you know, the X-Men are kind of a big deal, and when you're rolling with Cyclops and Jean Grey and these big heavy hitter characters, the Marvel Universe takes notice. So I know that I'm going to be picking up this book because I have to see what it means for the greater Marvel Universe. I also just think it's going to be really cool because Jerry Duggan's been on a hot streak the last couple years. He's been doing a great job on Marauders and Cable, and I'm sad Cable is ending, but we get this book in its place basically. So I think it's going to be really cool. I'm going to be reading the Hellfire Gala in June, and I know I'm going to be reading this series in July. A new black female Captain America will be making her debut this July in the pages of the United States of Captain America, issue number 2. Now, the United States of Captain America is an upcoming miniseries that's going to follow all the different versions of Captain America as they run across the country trying to find Captain America's shield. And along the way, they will encounter Nichelle Wright, who is the Captain America of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The backup feature is really going to flesh out the character, and that's being written by Mihaly Mashego with art by Natasha Bustos, and I think this is really great. First off, this book sounds like it's the perfect thing to hand somebody after they watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it is a book that is about a bunch of different people and how they relate to the idea of Captain America. So right away, I think that's really cool. I also just think it's great because I'm happy to see that Marvel is applying different ideas to Captain America and seeing how different people can relate to the idea of Captain America and the idea of America itself. So I know that I'm going to be checking out this book. It's got an awesome creative team, and I'm really happy that they're empowering new voices like Mihaly Mashego with this series. So I think it sounds like everything I want to read in the comic book, and I know I'm going to be checking out this series, which starts in June. This July, Marvel will be boldly reimagining a few of their premier heroes in the pages of Amazing Fantasy. Now, this new series will be written and drawn by Kari Kyle Andrews and features the Red Room Black Widow, a teenage Spider-Man, and World War II Captain America teaming up together for an epic fantasy adventure. We don't really know a whole lot about this series beyond that, but I don't think we really need to, because we are being sold on this book based on Kari Andrews himself. Marvel is doing something a little bit unconventional this series. They're showing off this nice, you know, beautiful cover, but they're telling us that it's Kari Andrews just telling a weird fantasy story, and I think it's great that Marvel's actually doing that. They're kind of letting the artistry shine through with a book like this, and they've also done that recently with the Beta Ray Bill series, and I think it's really great to see that because doesn't happen too often. This book is probably going to be pretty divisive because Corey Andrews' work in the past has been pretty divisive, but I think he's pretty great. I really liked Iron Fist, The Living Weapon, and though I haven't gotten to Spider-Man Reign, I actually respect that it's just bonkers and just absolutely crazy. So I think that this will be interesting. I'm sure that fans of his work will be flocking to this series. And if you've never checked out a Corey Andrews book, I do recommend giving this a try just because I think it'll be something different than what we normally see, and I want to support different things happening in the comic book industry. Screenwriters Jim and John Thomas have filed a copyright termination lawsuit against Disney for the rights to Predator. So 35 years ago, Jim and John Thomas wrote the original screenplay for Predator, so they have a legal right to the copyright for that franchise. Basically, after 35 years, if you have written something, you can file a copyright termination suit and you can try to reclaim your IP. I don't know all the specifics, I'm not a lawyer, but Disney's lawyers are now involved talking with the Thomas brothers to try to sort through all of this. We're not getting that Predator comic anytime soon. The way that this stuff always works out is it's going to take a very long time for it to get sorted out. So that is very unfortunate, but I'm happy that at least there is an answer for why that was held up. And as disappointing as it is, at least it makes sense. And I understand why these guys are trying to reclaim the rights to Predator, because Predator is a massive franchise and 20th Century Fox had the rights and then Disney bought Fox, so now Disney has the rights. So it's kind of just the way that these things go. So anyways, no Predator comics for the foreseeable future, no Predator anything for the foreseeable future, and I guess we'll have to wait to see how this plays out. DC will be shedding a light on Gotham City's secondary heroes starting this July with the release of Batman Secret Files. Now, Batman Secret Files is going to be a line of oversized one-shots that are each 40 pages long that focus on different characters within Gotham City itself. So members of the Bat family or other vigilantes or presumably supporting cast members of, Batman's world of stories. So first off, we have Batman Secret Files, The Signal #1 by writer Tony Patrick and artist Christian Deuce. Then we have Batman Secret Files, The Huntress #1 by writer Mariko Tamaki and artist David Lapham. I am really excited for this. I think it's really great that DC is going to be doing more one-shots to flesh out Gotham City and just focus on people that aren't Batman. I mean, it's using the branding of Batman because that's going to sell the book to a lot of casual fans, and maybe that'll intrigue people that otherwise don't know who these characters are. But really, we're getting a Signal one-shot. We're getting a Huntress one-shot. We'll see what comes down the pipeline, but there's a lot of really great characters in Gotham City that can't support their own book, so getting a one-shot like this hopefully exposes them to a new audience, tells a cool, cohesive story that maybe will fit into a larger narrative. We'll have to wait and see. I also think that it's really great the creators that they have attached to these books so far. Mariko Tamaki is obviously doing great work on Detective Comics right now, but Tony Patrick did a really good job on the Batman and the Signal book a couple years ago, and honestly, I haven't seen him doing anything since then, so I'm really happy to see that he's back on the Signal because I thought that book was great. I'm excited for this book just because I know he's attached to it, and I think this is going to be a really smart decision to have a line of one-shots focusing on these secondary characters and pick up the characters you like, pick up, characters you aren't familiar with. I think it's a great way to expose yourself to new stories, and I know I'm going to be checking out this entire line of one-shots starting in July. Batman and Catwoman have a long storied history together, but what happened before they put on the masks? That is the question at the heart of Batman Catwoman Special #1, a one-shot coming out this July from writer Tom King and artist John Paul Leon. Now, this one-shot is effectively an interlude to the current Black Label Batman Catwoman series from Tom King and artist Clay Mann, so we're not getting a regular issue of Batman Catwoman for July, we're getting this interlude instead, which will focus on smaller stories between Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle outside of their costume personas, outside of being the Dark Knight and the Cat lady. I think this will be pretty fun. I really like those small character moments that Tom King has peppered throughout his Batman run and currently in Batman Catwoman. I only read the first issue of Batman Catwoman, but I did really enjoy it. I'm just waiting for it to all pile up so I can read the entire series at once. And I guess instead of reading 12 issues, I will now be reading 13 issues, which, hey, more content. I'm happy with it. I think this will be pretty neat. And if you're a fan of Tom King, of course you're going to be reading this. Of course you're reading Batman Catwoman. And hey, more cute stuff. What's wrong with that? A brawny barbarian bruiser with a broken heart meets a lonely beastman who can talk to dinosaurs, and love is in the air. That is the premise, at the heart of Savage Hearts, a new 5-issue miniseries coming out from Dark Horse Comics this July. The book is being written by Aubrey Citizen with art by Jed Doherty and promises to be equal parts side-splitting and skull-splitting. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. Aubrey Citizen has been emerging as a writer to keep an eye out for because he's got a lot of really cool creator-owned projects going on right now. And also, Jed Doherty's art looks insane. If you go onto his Twitter page, you can just see all of the beefy, hulking bodies that he draws, and I don't know how that's going to apply to the series, but, you know, we've got a brawling bruiser type person, so yeah, I'd say he's pretty qualified to do that. I know that I talk about a lot of books that I want to check out, a lot of things that I'm interested in, and honestly, that's because I like to sample a lot of different books. So I don't know if I'm going to check out this entire series, but I know I'm going to try out that first issue just because the premise sounds fun. It looks like it's got a unique visual identity, and I think it's great to support creator-owned books like this, and yeah, this looks like fun to me. A young witch gets pulled into a world of trouble in the pages of Mamo, a new 5-issue miniseries coming out from the Boom Studios Boom Box imprint this July. The series follows a young witch who returns to her hometown after years away following the death of her grandmother, Mamo. Now, she finds herself pulled into a conflict with the Fae and is getting a crash course on the secret history of her seemingly boring hometown. The book is being written and drawn by Sass Millage, and it looks really pretty, and I think it sounds really fun. This is the kind of book that I think is going to hit really big with a YA audience, and Sass Millage has previously drawn various different YA targeted books, so obviously they're qualified for this. I think this is going to be a really cool book, and I think it's really nice that Boombox continues to make fun books for all ages, and this looks great. Cool fantasy series, what's not to love? And in my last news story for this week, Skybound Entertainment will be celebrating their 10th anniversary this July with the release of the 5-part weekly event anthology series, Skybound X. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Skybound Entertainment is the imprint of Image Comics that is led by Robert Kirkman, and they publish The Walking Dead, they publish Invincible, they publish Manifest Destiny, or Ultra Mega, or Murder Falcon, and all these really great books. So for this new series, Robert Kirkman is basically getting the gang back together, and he's getting all these people who've worked on different Skybound books in the past, and he's putting them on new stories featuring these characters. So you're going to get new stories from Robert Kirkman, from Ryan Otley, from James Herron, from Danny Warren Johnson, from Donny Cates, from Chip Zdarsky, from Ramon Perez, from Carrie Randolph, from all these really incredible people featuring all of these really great properties. And the book is also going to have the actual comic book debut of Clementine, the main character from the Walking Dead Telltale Games video game series. So, you know, there's a collector's value to it as well. I think this is awesome. I'm just really happy that, you know, Image continues to make these really cool books, and a lot of Skybound books are really awesome. I love Murder Falcon, and Ultra Mega has been one of the biggest hits of the year, at least in my perspective. So I think that this is really cool. I'm excited for all these new stories. I'm happy that all these creators get to tell cool, unique comic book adventures with some of their own creations, and I think this is one book that you should be checking out just because it's going to be absolutely insane.
So that's it. Tell me, what was your favorite story that I talked about this week? Let me know in the comment section below. We can have a fun little chit chat about comics. And while you're at it, can you please like this video and share it with your friends so they too can enjoy the goodness comic book news.
While you're at it, can you please subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications so you can stay up to date whenever I post a new video. You can follow me across social media at White Cuban. I continue to talk about comic books, and you don't have to hear me or put up with whatever that just was. But if you are still interested in comic book news, I have good news. I'll be back next week. I probably won't do this again, but I will definitely have more comic book news.